are again warning, if there is no accountability and no attempt by the Republican Party to stop these insane lies that have taken root in their party, witness the support this week by the House Republicans for bigot and conspiracy theorist Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Congresswoman from Georgia. If there's no effort at accountability, this is not going to be the end of MAGA terrorism. This will only be the beginning.
So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right. And we have to start doing something about them. There is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they had the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban. So what do we do about that?
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with their allies in the Congress of the United States. But again, let's just get out there, mobilize, organize, and not let the president deter anybody from voting. And again, support the postal system, which is election central. They're doing everything they can. Suppress the vote with your actions, scare people, intimidate by saying law enforcement will be there, diminish the role of the postal system in all of this. It's really actually shameful. Enemies of the state.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay.
Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, we kick them. That's what this new Democratic Party is about.
Please don't just come here today and then go home. Go to the Hill today. Get up and please get up in the face of some Congress people.
And I don't think, even in states where Donald Trump won big, that it does you any good running away from Donald Trump. I think you need to go back and punch him in the face. I mean, the truth is this guy is bad for this country.
The donor class can't just sit back on the sidelines and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will all work itself out. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
But I'd like that you're all a part of it. When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I am outraged. Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Already, you have members of your cabinet that have been booed out of restaurants, who have protesters taking up at their house, who's saying no peace, no sleep. No peace, no sleep. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. I will go and take Trump out tonight.
This is as much about public outcry and organizing and mobilizing and applying pressure so that this GOP-led Senate and that these governors that continue to carry water for this administration, putting the American peoples in harm's way, turning a deaf ear to the needs of our families and our communities, hold them accountable.
Well,
make the phone calls, send the email, show up. There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. And unfortunately, there's plenty to go around.
A president, who clearly is owned by Putin. We have an investigation going. Okay, that's good news. We basically now have a press release that's been put out, that's been twisted and mangled, that now will give this president permission to fire Rosenstein, who will now take over this investigation. Our democracy is under siege. People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator. This is not something to analyze anymore.
Yeah.
This is not so, oh, a good day for Trump.
Yeah.
This is frightening stuff.
Trump wakes up angry, watches Fox and Friends, and fires Bob Mueller.
Well, I hope he doesn't do that.
He wakes up angry and watches Fox and Friends most days.
It would set off a firestorm. I think it would be, not only on the Hill, but in the streets. I really think that would be a bad thing to happen.
Look, if the president does go ahead and fire Robert Mueller, we would have people take to the streets. I believe there would be widespread civil unrest because Americans understand that the rule of law is paramount.
You think there would be civil unrest, widespread civil unrest?
I do. I think you're going to have protests and marches and rallies and sit-ins. I believe Americans would not stand for the firing of Robert Mueller.
Many see the protests as the problem. No, the problem is what forced your fellow citizens to take to the streets. Persistent and poisonous inequities and injustice. And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
But he's taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know, but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them.
In light of the impeachment proceedings now commencing against Donald Trump, I wanted to remind you guys of the stark hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. For years, as you just saw, they have been calling for unrest in the streets. They have been calling to label GOP supporters and Trump supporters as literal domestic terrorists and enemies of the state. And they have done this non-stop. They have called for Trump campaign members to be kept out of restaurants and for the literal assassination of the President of the United States. And now they want to impeach President Trump for so-called claims of violence, regardless of the fact that the Capitol riot was pre-planned and really had nothing to do with President Trump. I don't know about you, but something is absolutely happening, and it has been going on for quite a number of years and under the radar during this impeachment trial. While they want you to believe that Trump is a racist, xenophobic, violent person, they themselves have been calling for unrest in the streets. And you don't even have to take my word for it. I think the video clips have spoken for themselves. But today is a good day to remind everyone the real views of many in the Democratic Party. You see, right now, so many things are happening. And let me remind you of a little piece of legislation that they just put through. And I think this is a great reminder. And it's called H.R. 350, Domestic Terrorist Prevention Act. And the summarization of this act is best portrayed by Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, by the way. And here's this article. Tulsi Gabbard, and this is on thenationalreview.com. Domestic terrorist bill is the targeting of almost half of the country. And who's the half of the country that she's referring to? Well, those who voted for President Trump. And this is coming again from a Democrat. House Resolution 350, Domestic Terrorist Prevention Act, has not yet passed, but it is absolutely introduced, and congressional leaders are taking a very serious look at this bill, and they're using the Capitol riot as their springboard to do so. But it only targets one political side. You see, there is a new normal coming, but a new normal is a war on quote unquote domestic terrorists. And I think this article in Zero Hedge sums it up very well. And he says this in a sarcastic kind of way. If you enjoyed the global war on terrorism, you're going to love the new war on domestic terrorists. It's just like the original global war on terrorists, except this time the terrorists are all domestic violent extremists, or homegrown violent extremists, or violent conspiracy theorist extremists, or violent reality denial extremists, or insurrectionary microaggression extremists, or people who make liberals feel uncomfortable. And anyone else the DHS wants to label an extremist and slap a ridiculous acronym on. This stuff is very important in light of what's happening today to the President of the United States. Not one act, nobody in Congress, not Nancy Pelosi, not Anaya Presley, not Maxine Waters, who have constantly called for uprisings of sorts in our streets. None of them have yet to go on trial. Why is that? It seems we have a one-sided political party. Anyhow, I thought today was a good day to remind you of that. And with that, please don't forget to check out my partner at noblegoldinvestments.com. If you guys have not converted your 401k or gotten a Roth IRA, they can handle all of that for you at noblegoldinvestments.com. And it's very good to diversify your profile. And right now, you can get a gold-backed IRA, you can get a silver-backed IRA, you can mix it up, and they completely offer that there, especially in light of everything that's happening with the economy. So give them a call or go to noblegoldinvestments.com today and check them out and let them know Lisa Haven sent you. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.